Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Palantir is currently up 3% for today. Palantir was up nearly 6% earlier today, and there's definitely a reason. Bank of America, that is one of the only, if not the only analysts that have Palantir correct, has upgraded Palantir from $13 a share to a massive whopping $18 a share. If you guys don't know who Bank of America is an analyst. It's obviously a bank as well. I believe it's the third largest bank in the country, second largest bank in the country. And they're analysts. And they believe that data is the new ammunition. And if they believe that and they're right, then Palantir is a nuclear weapon, so to speak. Palantir commands data. It doesn't have your data, but it allows you to command your data and use it to become as effective as possible, both military government, non-military government, and commercial. I want to take a moment and watch a 3-minute clip from an interview with the Bank of America analyst, and then I want to read you the new upgrade of the Bank of America analyst, if that's okay with you. So let's first watch the clip. One moment.
Oh, I'm so sorry about this. I'm so sorry. It happens only on my live stream.
Company Palantir, the stock closing 6% higher today after Bank of America initiated coverage of the stock. Time for today's MVP, most valuable pick. And today it's software company Palantir, the stock closing 6% higher today after Bank of America initiated coverage of the stock with a buy rating. Joining me now is Ron Epstein. He's senior aerospace and defense analyst at Bank of America Global Research. It was his call. Ron, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, Mike.
Tell us the thesis behind this. I mean, it seems like kind of an opportunistic call. Obviously, the stock down a lot from its highs, some 70% even after today's move. But what are the key, I guess, longer-term drivers of value?
Yeah, so when you think about what's going on in the market, we've been very bullish on defense. If you look at where the defense budget's going to come in this year, it's going to come in probably $850 billion. And we think it's going to be close to $1 trillion when you get to 2026. And we've seen the defense stocks, the big defense names reflect that, but it hasn't been, that revaluation in defense has not been reflected in Palantir. And Palantir is a great way to get at it. If you look at Palantir, about 2/3 of their revenue is government. About half of that is national security. That's about 1/3 commercial. So when we see the defense budget have that kind of growth, this is a way to get at it. And I think broadly the way to think about it, data is the new bullets, right? And these guys are all about artificial intelligence, data organization, and how to see trends and bigger pictures in the data. And from all the companies we talk to, they're working their way into more and more customers in the national security space. And think about it as sort of Palantir inside, the Palantir data operating system living in a lot of other systems that are fabricated or are put together by a lot of the other companies we cover. So we think this is a really nice way to get at an increase in national security spending where it hasn't been reflected yet in the multiple of the company or the stock performance. And I would argue most of the analysts who cover it today aren't looking at that. I think a lot of the people that are looking at it aren't really giving them full credit for what's going on in national security. The stock trading today around $9, that just barely gives them credit for the defense piece, or a way to look at it is they're pricing in defense, but not giving them any credit for commercial.
Right. I mean, it's interesting because I guess shortly after the IPO, there was some concern that maybe the skew toward government customers was going to prevent it from expanding more on the commercial side. You don't think that's a risk?
No. I mean, a lot of the technology, if you think about how they've organized their business, they've got 3 product silos and one that's specifically set up for the commercial markets. And like what we've seen in some other businesses, there are technologies that you can develop for a government customer that you can use in commercial markets. So I don't think it impedes it at all, not at all. And broadly speaking, if you can have the U.S. government pay for development, it's a great way to fund what you're doing.
Yeah, and you got a $13 price target, which is well below the highs, but it's up almost about 50% from today's close. Ron, we got to leave it there. Appreciate you taking the time.
All right, so that was the Bank of America analyst, and you hear what he says. He says that most analysts just have it wrong when it comes to Palantir, that most people are not taking into account their full business, that at a At the price of where Palantir was at that $9 price target, Palantir was only being given, their defense spending, so on and so forth. He also said that by 2026, the defense budget is going to be up to a $1 trillion. Right now, our defense budget is around 842 billion, something like that, 843 billion. We raised the debt ceiling recently, and in the debt ceiling, we capped non-military spending, but there is no cap on military spending. Ask yourself a question. Why is that happening? Because we have this battle right now that's happening with China, and there's going to be an increased capabilities for defense spending. Now, this is what happened earlier today. This is a present share screen window. This is a tweet from Chad Palantard. Shout out to him. Palantir Bank of America raises price target to $18 from $13, and they quote, 5 years ahead of the competition. Bank of America security analysts believe that Palantir has a unique position to take advantage of the rising AI opportunity as they bump their price target to shares of $18 from $13, reiterated as a buy rating. In their latest note on the company, the analysts arguing that the growing number of companies eager to use generative AI are all facing the same set of major compliance, regulatory, ethical, legal, privacy rights, data security, and accountability oversight requirements. As such, they've underscored Palantir's inherent competitive advantage stemming from its experience working with the government and highly regulated industries. And note that Palantir has already developed and implemented the architectural design that supports generative AI in the compliance and the private world. For companies looking to leverage AI in the near term under a compliant, regulated world, all roads lead to Palantir, the analyst argues, citing comments by Palantir CEO Alex Karp, who said, and I quote, "The company has received more inbound interest in the last few weeks than all of last year put together, all related to the recent launch of AIP, Artificial Intelligence Platform." Lastly, the analysts also cite a recent conversation with existing Palantir clients who suggest Palantir is 5 years ahead of the closest company and estimate AIP solutions could help Palantir further penetrate within the existing customers and open up partnership opportunities. Based on the above, Bank of America analysts conclude that Palantir is positioned to be one of the dominant providers in generative AI by providing a near-term solution agnostic to the preferred large language model, compliant to tight security, data privacy, and regulatory requirements with demonstrated use cases across the sectors, as they reiterate a buy rating and raise their price target from $13 to $18. So listen, it's very important to understand what's happening over here, okay? Analysts are now going to be chasing the price of Palantir. As the price of Palantir goes up, analysts are going to be raising their price targets to try to catch up to the price. So far, Bank of America was the only analyst that had it right when it comes to Palantir. And so far, Bank of America is still the only analyst that have it correct when it comes to Palantir. They're the only ones that are factoring in all three parts of their business. Now, you heard a quote that says Palantir is 5 years ahead. Dr. Alex Karp says this all the time. People in the Palantir community say this all the time. But that was not a quote from Dr. Alex Karp. That was a quote from an actual user of Palantir AIP and Palantir Foundry. That's the big difference, right? The software speaks for itself. The capabilities speaks for itself. Sooner or later, most analysts will catch up. Remember, Palantir DPO'd, not IPO'd, and a DPO is a direct public offering, and an IPO is an initial public offering. The difference is, in an IPO, Wall Street gets approximately 20% of all the funds raised, while in a DPO, Wall Street gets nearly nothing. You'll get nothing, and you'll do fucking nothing about it. Because of that, Wall Street is tight, and Wall Street wants their money. because Wall Street wants their money. Wall Street analysts are, butting heads with Palantir, showing them no love. Every analyst that is upgrading Palantir is doing this not because they love Palantir, it's because they have to raise, because Palantir is just getting to that specific point in time. Recently, Palantir met with a couple of high-level officials in the United Kingdoms, and Palantir is going to build a huge, huge hub for Europe in the United Kingdoms. There was a recent interview by Dr. Alex Karp on BBC, not that BBC. Get your filthy, filthy thoughts out of your mind while you're watching my live. And on that BBC interview, Palantir says that they're going to be opening up a Central European hub for artificial intelligence, which is going to be in London, the UK. Now, yes, Palantir already has offices in the UK, but that's not as a central hub to Europe. That is specifically for their work in Foundry or whatever other applications they're doing within the United Kingdoms. Earlier today, Rishi Sunak comes out with this tweet. This is Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak is the Prime Minister of the United Kingdoms. He says, AI is defining technology of our time, and we have a clear strategy to develop it in a safe way that will benefit everybody in the UK. Here's what that looks like. Growing the economy with tech, a safe strategy for AI. Now look, they're not going to mention Palantir directly. However, let me read through this and fill in the gaps. Will lead the AI at home. DeepMind, OpenAI, and Anthropical AI will give us early access to their models to help us understand any potential risks. And we're launching 2 new fellowships to enhance machine learning in drugs and food design and AI scientific training. We will lead on AI overseas. I want to make UK not just the intellectual hub, but the geographical hub of global AI safety regulations. And that's why the UK will host the first ever global summit on AI safety later this year. Palantir will be there. We will lead on changes to public services. We will harness the incredible potential of the AI and transform our hospitals and schools. This means quicker diagnosis and more accurate tests for patients and more time for teachers to focus on teaching. This is the magic sauce right here, guys. This is the magic sauce. He is literally talking about Palantir and the NHS deal. I know a lot of people are going to think I'm full of shit, but this is Palantir right here. Half of this tweet is Palantir. AI firm Palantir picks the UK as a European headquarters as fintech cab aims for whatever, it doesn't matter. So Palantir is going to build its headquarters in the United Kingdoms. Palantir is vying for this massive, massive minimum $500 million contract with the NHS. Guys, it is really, really exciting times when it comes to Palantir. We are not only taking over government business, we are taking over government and government military, as well as government non-military, right? Government is 2 sectors, military and non-military. So NHS is non-military, while United States Special Command would be military. A lot of people forget that Palantir does 3 sectors of business, and then within those 3 sectors are subsectors. Government military, government non-military, and business. This is evident in the new partnership that they have with Ukraine. Their new partnership in Ukraine are across 3 different sectors as well. Number 1, business, making Ukraine a strategic technical hub of Europe. They want to make Ukraine a technical hub of Europe, similar to what's happening in the United Kingdoms. So that's the business arm of Palantir. Then they say they want Palantir to help with the reconstruction of Ukraine. And that's going to be the government, non-military. And they also said they want Palantir to be the backbone, the software of reconstruction Ukraine and ensuring their defense. And there goes the military government, non-military government, and the business, the 3 parts of Palantir. Again, very few people are getting it right about Palantir. The Bank of America analyst is getting it right about Palantir. And it seems that most people in the Palantir community have been getting it right. Now, a lot of people are still going to laugh at Palantir. A lot of people are going to call Palantir a meme stock, blah, 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 blah. Let me ask you guys, is a meme stock getting a partnership to rebuild a country? Is a meme stock getting a partnership with another country, the United Kingdom's, to build a central hub for artificial intelligence? I mean, is a meme company controlling the safety of our nuclear arsenal? No, I mean, it does not make sense that people call Palantir a meme company. I don't know if Palantir goes up. I don't know if Palantir goes down. I don't know if it goes sideways. I have no idea. If Palantir is valued, overvalued, undervalued, I don't know. All I could say is this. In the short term, we will be getting a lot of new contracts. And if those lot of new contracts come in, like I think they will, I believe that the valuations of Palantir is going to go up. Because all of a sudden, our revenue is going to go up as well. So we're going to see what happens. It's definitely interesting times.